The 341-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway was inaugurated with a gala ceremony in Sultanpur in Uttar Pradesh. In a one-of-a-kind mega launch, the Prime Minister landed on the 6-lane expressway in the Indian Air Force's C-130J Hercules. It was followed by a stunning air show with the IAF stop jets performing sky-high feats. Prime Minister Modi hailed Yogi Adityanath and his government for putting Uttar Pradesh on the fast track to growth and progress.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega touchdown. From an imposing Super Hercules heavy lift aircraft straight into the rough and tumble of UP's Purvanchal on a spanking new state-of-the-art expressway, sending a message to India's politically most crucial state at this mammoth gathering.
जौने धरती पर हनुमान जी काल नेमी के वध किए रहे, उस धरती के लोगन के हम पांव लागित हैं.
Modi asserted BJP means business when it comes to Uttar Pradesh, showcasing majestic expressways built in UP under the Yogi regime at breakneck speed, and tore into opposition.
योगी जी के आने से पहले वाली सरकार ने यूपी के लोगों के साथ नाइंसाफी की. जिस तरह उन सरकारों ने विकास में भेदभाव किया, जिस तरह सिर्फ अपने परिवार का हित साधा, ये एक्सप्रेसवे उत्तर प्रदेश को तेज गति से बेहतर भविष्य की ओर ले जाएगा. ये एक्सप्रेसवे यूपी के विकास का एक्सप्रेसवे है. ये यूपी की शान है. ये यूपी का कमाल है.
Modi's address was followed by a majestic air show with Indian Air Force's Sukhois, Mirages, Jaguar jets as showstoppers. To drive home the point that the expressway boasts of a special 3.2-kilometer airstrip. Doubling up to handle takeoff and landing of aircraft in wars and emergencies. The 341-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway will connect Delhi to often neglected eastern UP with crucial 156 assembly seats. A region the BJP has gone all out to woo.
पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश जो आजादी के बाद से विकास के, भौतिक विकास के उन मापदंडों को पूरा करने में विफल साबित हुआ था. विगत 4.5 वर्ष के अंदर प्रदेश के अंदर न केवल विकास और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की दिशा में जो नए कार्य हुए हैं वो हम सबके सामने हैं.
Will the 22,500 crore rupees expressway ensure a smooth ride for the BJP in the coming UP elections? With Abhishek Mishra and Samarth Srivastav in Sultanpur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Even before the Purvanchal Expressway was officially inaugurated, the opposition was sniping at the BJP. And now a full-blown war for credit has exploded. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav has claimed that it was his government that laid the foundation of the expressway and that the BJP government has compromised on the quality of the project. The Prime Minister hit back, hurling the charge of dynastic politics at the Samajwadi Party.
High-powered Purvanchal Vikas Blitz in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in full election mode launches a blistering attack on opposition.
पिछले मुख्यमंत्रियों के लिए विकास वहीं तक सीमित था जहां उनका परिवार था, उनका घर था।
बटन दब गया।
Unveiling the 341-kilometer long Purvanchal Expressway linking Lucknow to Ghazipur. Prime Minister Modi trained his guns on the principal challenger Akhilesh Yadav.
मैं एमपी के रूप में आता था तो हवाई अड्डे पर स्वागत करके पता नहीं खो जाते थे। उनको इतनी शर्म आती थी क्योंकि काम का हिसाब देने के लिए उनके पास कुछ था ही नहीं। इन विमानों की गर्जना।
Calling the expressway a symbol of the strong willpower of UP, Modi accused dynastic politics of obstructing development.
चाहे लखनऊ हो या दिल्ली, दोनों स्थानों पर परिवारवादियों का ही दबदबा रहा। सालों साल तक परिवारवादियों की यही पार्टनरशिप यूपी की आकांक्षाओं को कुचलती रही, बर्बाद करती रही। यहां के लोगों का परिश्रम।
Prime Minister Modi's attacks did not end here. He lauded the people of UP for rejecting vaccine hesitancy, fueled by opposition.
मैं यूपी के लोगों की इस बात के लिए भी सराहना करूंगा कि उसने भारत में बनी वैक्सीन के खिलाफ किसी भी राजनीतिक अपप्रचार को टिकने नहीं दिया। यूपी की जनता इन्हें इसी तरह आगे भी परास्त करती रहेगी।
उन्होंने हमारा भरपूर साथ दिया।
The opposition hit back at the Prime Minister.
जिस तरीके से लगातार माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी के काम को अपना काम गिना रहे हैं और माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी के उद्घाटन और शिलान्यासों को दोबारा शिलान्यास उद्घाटन कर रहे हैं, तो इसका जीता जागता उदाहरण है पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे, जो माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी ने शिलान्यास किया था, माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी का काम था, विजन था, उसको अपना काम बता रहे हैं।
The expressway is a big bone of contention for the BJP and SP, with both claiming credit. Akhilesh Yadav has time and again accused the BJP of stealing credit over the Purvanchal Expressway.
जहां तक सवाल पूर्वांचल के एक्सप्रेसवे का है, इसका भी नाम बदला गया। ये समाजवादी पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे जो समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार का विजन था और जो काम समाजवादी पार्टी 4.5 साल पहले कर चुकी, उसी काम को आज सरकार कर रही है। इनके पास कोई नया काम भी नहीं है दिखाने को जनता के लिए।
Certainly, with this inauguration, the BJP government has opened the door for the 2022 battle with the strength and the power expressed on the expressway in Sultanpur. With cameraman Sanjay Singh, Abhishek Mishra for India Today.
So, who should get the credit for developing the Purvanchal Expressway? More importantly, how significant is Eastern Uttar Pradesh in determining who will win Lucknow in February, March next year? To talk about the political Pradesh and the dynamics at play, I'm joined on this broadcast representing the BJP. We've got Shazia Ilmi with us on this broadcast from the Samajwadi Party, which claims that this is the Samajwadi Expressway, is Ghanshyam Tiwari. Supriya Shrinet joins us from the Congress. And I have two political pundits for a cephalogical perspective on what's happening on the significance of Uttar Pradesh's eastern parts. We've got Sanjay Kumar from CSDS, he's the director there. Yashwant Deshmukh joins us, founder of Sea Voter. He's been doing monthly polling in Uttar Pradesh, will give us a sense of what's happening in UP and in eastern UP. And Sharad Pradhan joins us for a perspective of what's happening on the ground in Lucknow. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I don't even understand what the Samajwadi Party is cribbing about. Whichever government inaugurates a particular project, that government, regardless of whose tenure that project was started in, seeks to take credit for the project that got developed on their watch. The BJP says that all that Akhilesh Yadav did was make announcements. The real land acquisition happened on their watch. The construction happened on their watch. All the problems that came in acquiring land were dealt with on their watch. So why are you cribbing?
Good evening, Rahul, to you, the viewers, and my fellow co-panelists. Here is the advertisement on taxpayers' money from Bharatiya Janata Party in one of the major dailies, Indian Express. And it comically, ironically says BJP the longest road to development. So this is what India is facing. BJP is the longest road to development. They would never develop India. And it says how Yogi Adityanath's dream project is now getting inaugurated. Now I read to you aajtak.in. In December 2016, the article is titled Akhilesh Purvanchal mein karenge Purvanchal Expressway ka Shilanyas. It speaks about how the 20,000 crore project is built and how there's 1,000 crore has been budgeted. And later, the land acquisition was done. Nearly 40% land acquisition was done. From that point, where alignments were set, DPR was made, from that point, this government took 2 years to start this project as per their own advertisement. So one, this is a false advertisement. It shows the Prime Minister inaugurating the project in July 2018. Then the question is that if the government really wants to compete with Akhilesh Yadav ji, who's an engineer, he's an engineer of development, versus Babaji, who's an engineer of hatred. So if they want to compete on the engineer or with the engineer of development, they must at least be honest. Say when was it inaugurated? Whose vision was it?
Okay, Shazia Ilmi, it's down to who did the Shilanyas. Akhilesh Yadav's party says he's the one who went in 2016, and it was in some senses his vision that there will be this expressway. You've carried forward that vision, as you should, because you're now in power. Therefore, there must be some part of the credit that goes to Akhilesh Yadav, who came up with the idea of having a grand Eastern Expressway. Why is the opposition being denied their due credit, they ask? Shazia Ilmi.
So, would you give the visionary who has the imagination or the idea to make an expressway, or somebody else who does the detailed project report, acquires the land, works on the proposal, makes sure the land acquisition happens without any real issues, that people are compensated for it, and works with several agencies to ensure that it happens, instead of giving all the credit to somebody who dreamt of it, who announced it, who passed the tender without having anything to do with either the land acquisition or any understanding of what the project would entail later. So I don't know. Ghanshyam also almost sounds cute when he says that he's the engineer. I mean, surely no engineer would talk like that, you know.
But you know, the one other point of criticism of what went down at the Eastern Expressway today was this use of the Air Force for an air power demonstration when the messaging was very political. In the Prime Minister's speech, he spoke of Yogi Adityanath's development compared with past chief ministers. That was a very, very political address. And the surround sound was of Mirages, of MiGs, of C-130s, and therefore the opposition hurling the charge of using the armed forces as an extension of your local politics.
No, why would the opposition should join in? This is a time to be to rejoice in the country's developments and to show the world, because I think India should use every minute and every occasion to show its prowess and its might as a nation and as a military nation, as one which is ready, especially at these times where the geopolitical stratagems keep changing. So I don't know why the opposition has a problem when India shows its might and its power as a nation and shows the expressways and the connectivity, which actually not only will give more jobs, but actually have the wherewithal, where these beautiful machines can actually be maneuvered and stationed.
Shazia makes the point that in the eastern parts of India where highways typically have been poor, and you come from the same areas, if you've got these kind of expressways showcasing our air power, is something the whole country should be proud of, and parties like yours and the Samajwadi Party should not be doing politics around this.
I am not doing politics for a minute, and you are absolutely right. I think on this panel, if somebody can speak with some amount of certainty on Eastern Uttar Pradesh, it is me. I was born and raised there. I belong to that place. I work there. I will ask you only one question. I have no issues
You're not the only one. I was also born in Uttar Pradesh.
The BJP doesn't need to show its prowess. Ma'am, please, I did not speak while you were... I did not speak in between, Shazia. You can claim your ancestry in just 2 minutes. I have only one thing to say. I have no issues with India showing its prowess, by all means. But the BJP can't show its prowess on the hand of India Air Force or the taxpayers' money. Who is footing the bill for all of this? I'm presuming it's the government of India or the Indian Air Force. Why should this be a political event to which no other opposition leader is called? This is a purely BJP political play. Why are we using our armed forces for this? That's point number one. And point number two, and a larger point that I want to make out Eastern Uttar Pradesh, because it's so much in focus, the Prime Minister is going there again and again. There is one question that people in all parts of UP are asking, Shazia, and that question is, how does Ajay Mishra Teni continue to be India's Minister of State for Home Affairs when his son is actually booked for the massacre in Lakhimpur? He's sharing the dais with Amit Shah. He refuses to resign. The Prime Minister does not sack him. With what moral authority do you talk about law and order?
Okay, Shazia Ilmi, respond to the point that Supriya is raising.
The politis are still very much on.
Supriya raises the question, Shazia,
that
that you're using the armed forces for a political demonstration. It's a air power demonstration, but it's also a political demonstration.
And brevity is the soul of wit. So you could have used lesser words to express the same. I would nevertheless answer with lesser words for sure and make it more succinct. So the first point that you made was, why should Indian taxpayers' money be used? Because this is about India. This is about telling the world about what India is.
Without facts.
And everybody should be happy, and I don't know why you have a problem with India showcasing and proudly displaying. Do not keep speaking now, my dear friend. I'm a fellow UPite.
UP has seen dead bodies.
You can't.
Supriya, you made a point. You are unhappy when Shazia Ilmi interjected. You wanted to be allowed to complete your point. Extend the same courtesy to Shazia. Shazia, go ahead, please.
So the point that I wish to make, first of all, I'm a Kanpur girl. I was born in UP. I've lived there. So I know what connectivity means, and I know the power of roads and highways, and and what Yogi ji has done is commendable. I think it is, we should salute him that there is one chief minister who has actually thought about having something like Purvanchal Expressway, which will reduce the time from 6.5 to actually 3. Because of this, you can reach the Rajdhani, you can reach Delhi. Instead of 20 hours, it will take 10 hours. And the whole connectivity of roads, what it does for the people of all religions and of regions and caste, and for the economy, is phenomenal. But because you want to talk about something else, because this makes you uncomfortable, I do get that. I will come to the point just to give you some comfort. The fact of the matter is that if these expressways are so well designed and they are so well equipped, and that they can be stations there, and machines can be displayed, and the might of India should be shown. It should be shown.
Okay, so it's interesting that everyone's proclaiming their UP wala connections on the show. Everyone's claiming the UP wala connections on the show. Supriya comes from Eastern Uttar Pradesh. Shazia talks about being a Kanpur girl. I studied in Prayagraj and in Lucknow, so I have a bit of a UP connection as well, as is Yashwant Deshmukh, who, from what I know, is from Kanpur too. So he's a UP wala bhaiya too. Okay, so Yashwant, you've been doing some polling in Uttar Pradesh. Give our viewers a sense of which way the winds in UP are blowing. From what I saw of the last poll you put out, you seem to suggest that the BJP's graph from between when you started polling to now has come down a few notches, and the opposition seems to be picking up, but the BJP is still well in pole position to form the next government. Why do you think the BJP's graph has been coming down, and is that the way it's likely to stay, or will this trend line reverse?
Rahul, the graph has been coming down largely.
I think you have nothing to say about your UP wala connections, huh?
No, I don't have to say. I'm a born Banasi, born in Banaras, brought up in Lucknow, Nanial in Nagpur and Fatehpur. I'm good. I'm good. I don't have to not it. I'm good. But the thing is that, Rahul, I think BJP just bought an insurance policy for the damages that they are afraid of on the western side of the state. You know, on the western Uttar Pradesh front, there are multiple factors that were at play. The Jats were angry. The farmer movement was at play, and of course the Samajwadi Party and RLD alliance was is something which is they have done it first. You know, so they are sitting pretty. So Mr. Tiwari's party can smile with the gains that they are likely to get in Western UP. I think the BJP just concentrated on the second most important part of the state. They thought, let's first ensure what is in our hand. Purvanchal is very, very critical. So PM going all the way to Purvanchal, inaugurating it. Basically, BJP's star campaigner has started the campaign today. So I think that's a big one. Whatever the graph that was going down, we'll have to see how much impact. But certainly, whenever the Prime Minister has campaigned in UP, BJP's graph has gone up. At least the damage has been stalled whenever the Prime Minister has campaigned. And the last three elections, 2014, Vidhan Sabha 2017 and 2019, BJP got the mandate in UP Modi ke naam pe. So basically, it was a vote for Modi in three elections. So again, it is going to be vote for Modi and mandate for Modi. BJP is trying to win the 2022 game. So let's be very clear on that. I think they have put up their best asset in the front, right in the front, and they have tried to actually ensure or ensure what is on the front right now on the eastern UP to just do the damage control on the western UP side.
Sanjay
so that's
Kumar,
how I look at it.
Do you have a UP connection as well? Are you also a UP ka bhaiya in some way? And secondly, explain to our viewers the significance of Eastern Uttar Pradesh in this election. I want to take our viewers to the data that's on your screen right now. In Eastern UP, in the 2017 assembly elections, out of the 167 seats in the region, the BJP picked up 117 with 35% of the vote share. The Samajwadi Party had only 17 with 22% of the vote share, so a 13% gap between the BJP and the ASP. The BSP had 14 seats with 23% of the vote share, so again a 12% gap. Given the significance of the gap between the BJP and its two principal adversaries in Eastern UP, is the BJP sitting pretty, and do you agree with Yashwant's analysis that this is like an insurance for whatever damage may happen in West UP because of farmers being agitated and the Muslim concentration there? Sanjay Kumar.
Rahul, I see the whole importance of Purvanchal in UP's politics is only because of the numbers. You have already played out the data that there are 156 assembly constituencies in UP. The point I wanted to make is that whichever party has managed to form the government in UP, 2017 it is BJP, 2012 it was Samajwadi Party, and 2007 it was BSP. All these parties have done very well in Eastern UP, and the party which aims to win elections in UP aims to form the government in Lucknow. I think they need to do well in Eastern UP just because of the numbers. See, in the Eastern UP in 2017, BJP got less vote compared to its average vote. In the average vote of BJP was 40%, roughly 40%. And in Eastern UP, they got just 35%. I think BJP was lucky because of the fragmentation of votes in Eastern UP between, say, BSP and the SP. I think BJP needs to make an extra effort to keep its vote intact, because if you look at the demographics of Eastern UP, the constituency which we are talking about, 156 constituency, 30%, there are 19% Muslims and 11% Yadavs. So if you combine these two groups together, these constitute 30% of the total voters, which is sizable. BJP doesn't have that core support. You know, if you look at the Brahmins, the Rajputs and the other OBCs, so if you put all these together, Brahmins and Rajputs put together are almost like 16-17%, 20%, maximum 20% vote. So they need to mobilize the other OBC votes in order to do well in Eastern UP. I think this is the importance of Purvanchal in the UP politics, and BJP is trying hard to keep its vote share intact in Eastern UP because they expect some damages in Western UP because of the farmers' protest. I think this is why Eastern UP or Purvanchal has become so important in UP's politics and for the 2022 Assembly election.
Sharad Pradhan, what are you picking up from on the ground in Eastern Uttar Pradesh? Is the BJP as comfortable as their vote share from 2017 and 2019 would suggest? Because in 2019, of the 32 seats in Eastern UP, the BJP picked up 23 with 46% of the vote share.
That's right.
The SP came in with 16 and the BSP with 24. What's happening on the ground now, according to you?
Well, the corona mismanagement, no matter how much they claim it was a great management, the hard reality was that Eastern UP suffered a lot for want of treatment, for want of oxygen. So this is one factor which worries the BJP, and that's the reason they are concentrating so heavily on showcasing whatever they claim to be doing in Eastern UP today. And let me tell you that these claims by merely the expressway might have been inaugurated, but the bigger question is, will it be thrown open to public today? No, because the expressway means complete access control. And this expressway has about only 50% of the barricading has been done. That leaves, and besides that, the connecting roads have not been made. Most of the connecting, except for I think one connecting road, no other connecting road is ready. So they have obviously, I don't blame them. The elections around the corner, they are bound to be inaugurating it and showcasing it as because it makes a lot of can take a lot of credit, Yogi Adityanath, because he has to showcase something that he has done in the name of development. So that is why this is being hyped far beyond proportion. You know, fact of the matter is that just as
But why do you say that? No, one second. As someone who's travelled around Eastern Uttar Pradesh, the highways in Eastern UP are a complete mess. If infrastructure development in Eastern UP, and Gorakhpur is in Eastern UP, so it kind of benefits the Chief Minister's showcase in his local area. If these highways are built, and we've seen how at the Chief Minister's office and others around him have worked doubly hard to get it done in time. So that's a good thing. Of course, they're hoping to cash this politically. But it's for the benefit of the area.
Some people are living in a state of denial.
What I'm trying to
I'm telling you, there are naysayers and there are people who don't even like the BJP. But they're very no, Mr. Sharad Pradhan, you've spoken a lot.
No, I haven't. I waited for half an hour to have my turn.
No, Shazia, let him complete. Shazia, let Sharad complete. I'll come back to you. Shazia, let Sharad complete. I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Mr. Pradhan.
So
Rahul,
he's just been going on and on, you know.
No, not on and on. I'm just trying to tell you the hard fact. You don't know the ground reality. Let me point out. It is not complete.
Say some more,
Let me tell you that it is incomplete. And this is the same. You know, there is no difference between Akhilesh claiming it to be his baby. Is between Akhilesh and Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath has been claiming that he built the Lucknow Metro, he built the Agra Expressway. It's shown in their list of achievements. In the same way, Akhilesh is claiming, making this false claim. Even Akhilesh is... Please, Shazia, will you have the courtesy of letting somebody else speak? I waited for half an hour for my turn. No, I am not repeating the same thing. She's going on disturbing me. I can't...
Go on, Sharad.
Now the second thing is, as far as this air show that was being discussed, let me tell you, it was a good mega event in that region. And even Akhilesh did the same thing by putting up a huge air show. Why? A simple reason. They want to attract crowds. These are the kind of things, the acrobatics by the Air Force planes is a huge attraction even for people in urban areas. So much more for the rural areas. And it makes an impact. Oh, look here, such and such, these kind of aircrafts came here and did these kind of acrobatics. That's a simple reason. And they all do this, whether it is Akhilesh or Mayawati.
No, but the fact is, Supriya, I've travelled in those parts, the roads are god-awful. If you've got these kind of expressways coming up, it is to the region's good. Aapke ilake ka bhala hoga. You should
in fact add one more thing?
Encouraging the fact that these highways and expressways are being built. Sharad Pradhan, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Let Supriya make a point. It is to, you've seen how bad the roads of Eastern UP are. This is to the area's advantage, Supriya.
No, I'll be honest with you. I don't think the roads are as bad as you claim them to be. So that's point number one. But I am not in opposition to infrastructure being built. Of course, any elected government should build infrastructure. It is about the disproportionate amount of money that you spend on event management, on the ads that I have an issue with, and using India's military and air force to showcase what you are terming political achievements is what I have an issue with. I will only make one very little point here. While we are talking about Eastern Uttar Pradesh was the only region in the country and the world where we saw dead bodies float. There are 4,500 government doctor vacancies. 70% of them are lying vacant. And let me tell you, Eastern Uttar Pradesh was called the sugar bowl of this country. All the sugar mills there are shut, barring a few. Why is the Prime Minister not talking about all of this when he endorses Yogi Adityanath's law and order? Does he also endorse what Ajay Mishra Teni is doing? Does he also endorse
Shazia Ilmi,
custodial death in Gorakhpur?
The problem, Supriya argues, is not so much with the construction of railways, the construction of these roadways. The problem is with your PR stunts, that she's calling this a PR stunt.
So there are a lot of canards that are being hurled at this point of time. If you see the National Crimes Records Bureau, you will realize there has been a sharp fall in crime per se. And in spite of being the largest state, it is the most populous state in terms of population. It is 20th on the list. No, I'm going one by one. I'm going one by one. Calm down, everybody. It's my turn. No, be quiet, my dear lady, because it's my turn now and you've done your bit. And as for Mr. Sharad Pradhan, he has a problem with everything being incomplete. But anybody who lives there, I don't know whether you live there or what you do, but I know people who are naysayers, who are relatives of mine, so definitely Muslims, who say one thing, that no matter what,
let us speak.
Let me finish, bhai, calm down. Why are you so agitated, my friend? Calm down.
Elections are still some distance away. We've got New Year's.
A deep election would help you.
We've got the budget and then there's the election. Abhi time hai.
It will help you. So listen, even they say the roads are beautiful and he's made it happen. I mean, I know that because I go there all the time. So please do not make up stories. Some are incomplete, some are not. Some are working beautifully, and people benefit from that.
Okay.
So you criticize as much as you want to,
in the few minutes I have
but
left,
do not deny the work and development that has been done.
Sanjay Kumar first, and then Yashwant Deshmukh to explain what are the X factors you're looking out for. Sanjay Kumar, what are your X factors between now and the first phase of polling? What could change in favor or against the government and in favor or against the opposition parties? Sanjay.
I think it applies both for the opposition as well as for the government. If the polity remains as fractured as it is at the moment, and parties which are opposing BJP are all fighting against each other, I think BJP has an edge. So the X factor remains how political parties are going to form alliances. You would realize that all these four big political parties, BSP, Samajwadi Party, Congress and BJP, none of them are going to have any alliance or understanding between them. At least this is what is visible at the moment. So the contest seems to be between BJP and Samajwadi Party. Both these parties are trying to form up alliances with smaller regional parties to broaden their support base. Whichever party succeeds in doing that, I think they would have an advantage. But in my opinion, at this moment, I think BJP has an advantage over Samajwadi Party. The X factor is again going to be the alliances.
Okay, Yashwant Deshmukh, what are the X factors you are looking out for? How significant will these alliances with some of these smaller parties be? Can it fundamentally change the direction of the polls?
Rahul, the big thing is that since 1989 to 2012, the UP's benchmark was always 30% of the votes to win the election and form the government. 2014 onward, this benchmark has changed. Now the the winnability benchmark is 40%. The game has changed. So question is not whether Samajwadi Party can form an alliance. They have already formed the best possible alliance they have formed, and BSP or the Congress is not part of their alliance. So I agree with Sanjay ji on that the game of taking their probable 30% vote share to 40%, that is a long task. This is where I feel that BJP is sitting pretty. The two things, for Samajwadi Party, whatever they have done in the Western UP, if they can go on and do it and replicate the same model in other with equally strong alliance partners in other regions, then the game benchmarking of 30 to 40% might be possible. That is something for them to do. For the BJP, I see the two X factors which could be working from here for the next, it's already 16th of November. We are looking around January 1st week when the model code of conduct will be launched. So from here to the polling day, as you said, the round one of polling, only two things, two X factors for the BJP. Number one, how many tickets they chop off, basically how many non-performing MLAs are denied the tickets to contest. That is a critical thing to do. Second, campaign of the Prime Minister. I am very clear. I have no hesitation in saying this. UP was a mandate for the Prime Minister Modi, and UP will remain a mandate for Prime Minister Modi and Modi alone. So I have no confusion on that.
I'm not so sure about that, because if the BJP does come back to power, it will be in part mandate for Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister, and in part for the BJP government at the centre and Prime Minister Modi. Now, what percentage gets allocated to which head?
To contest the election on his face.
Then that's a different matter. But that's a topic for another debate. Will this be Modi alone? Will it? Okay, Sharad Pradhan, I'm out of time. Just 20 seconds. Please wrap up quickly.
No, I just want to point out that the claims made by whether by Akhilesh or by Yogi Adityanath that the expressways will bring in, usher in an era of new development. Let me tell you where they are wrong. Neither did Akhilesh's expressway to Agra, which is a brilliant, excellent expressway, has generated anything so far, any industrial activity on the 300-kilometer stretch. So there is little that one can expect. It is only meant for privileged people like you and me who can drive and reach Delhi in no time. Because the toll is very heavy on the Agra expressway, and so is it going to be on this expressway. So it's not for use of the common people who will continue to go use the old sluggish roads.
But these things take time. If you see, right, where the expressway starts, some development work has started. It will take time, but then again, all of this is matter for another day. And whether the expressways are serving any purpose, whether this will be Modi alone or Modi plus Yogi, to what extent will it be Yogi's performance, to what extent will it be Prime Minister Modi's charisma, what could change. We'll talk about all of that and more in the days to come. I love elections more than I love anything else. So we'll be having a lot of Uttar Pradesh in the days to come. For the time being, Sanjay ji, आपने बताया नहीं आप यूपी के हो कि नहीं? You're the only one who's left. घनश्याम तिवारी, of course we know.
संजय जी यूपी में रहते हैं.
राहुल, मैं यूपी में रहता हूँ. मैं यूपी में रहता हूँ, राहुल.
So everybody's got strong UP credentials. Then okay.
But Rahul also lives in UP.
I live in UP now, but I'm more fond of my Prayagraj and Lucknow connections.
Yes.
Those are student days and more fun.
So Supriya, not the only one.
But Supriya has taken full credit. She says, I'm still here. I'm fighting on the ground. I'm not living in an air-conditioned studio or in Delhi. I'm on the ground and I'm fighting.
And in Eastern UP. Absolutely. Unlike Shazia.
Oh, Central UP, Central UP.
Only one, there has nothing to do. Most of the people have.
We are the only one who are going to make the government.
Okay, this is fun. We'll have more of this in the days and weeks to come. We'll slip into a quick break. I'll have more for you on the other side. You're watching the News Track. You're on board the News Track. India Today has access telling CCTV images from Delhi's Rohini jail of the VVIP perks of conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. On your screens are the images from jail where Sukesh Chandrasekhar can be seen behind clothes which are used as a curtain to give the conman full privacy. These curtains have been put in the barrack in which Sukesh lives so that he can comfortably make phone calls without being caught by the jail administration. Sukesh lives alone in a barrack meant for 40 prisoners so he can have his privacy. Sukesh and his partner, Leena Paul, have been jailed in a 200 crore rupee extortion case. Now action is being taken against the policemen and the jail staff who were responsible for this lapse. This is where I wrap up the News Track tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. It means the world to us.